To be here. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this. It's a great way for me to be able to spend my Saturday morning here in New York City.
Yes, we are so excited. We've already have had so many people tell us that the book is changing their lives, changing their businesses. So we are beyond excited to have you. So please, Bill, without further ado, please take it away.
Well, why don't we just take it and run from here? And we're going to have a good time for the next 55 minutes or so. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. But what I thought I'd kick off and share with you all is something that I've noticed that is ridiculously important right now. It's something that's changed more than anything else. And one of the things that's changed is how we communicate, particularly in scenarios like this one here right now, where I'm here talking to a webcam and you're wherever you are in the world. See, smart people have always known that you listen here with your ears, right? We've known that to be true. But what super smart people realize also is that they listen here with their eyes. So what my invitation to you is to not just listen to our time here together today, but also to be present, to be watching, to be following along, to join the conversation by not being distracted by other things that could steal your attention. What else I've noticed about how people listen is in environments like this is that we do a great job of listening with these things too. What do I mean? I mean with our fingers, because we join the conversation in the chat. Our time together today is going to be hugely interactive, and to help me feel less of a crazy person speaking at a webcam is I'd like you to be able to join in the conversation, prove that you're listening, prove that I'm not alone, and continue along following to responses in the chat. And to help you prove to me that you can do that, I thought I'd ask you a question that I think will provide a ton of insight. A question that your answer is going to mean that I'm going to judge you profusely. Your colleagues, your teammates, everybody else is going to judge you profusely. And the result of which is that we're going to see deep insight into your inner workings. So the question I'd like you to be able to answer for me is this, is what is your favorite vegetable? Go. Right? I told you judge each other. I told you judge each other. See, I am going to invite you to be able to light up the chat. I'm still looking for somebody to say steak or French fries. There we go. Somebody got it. Somebody got it. But hey, this is interesting. You folks are here. I'm here. We're all present. Let's make this go time. Next question I have for you is perhaps a little bit more important, a little more focused. Is answer me this in the chat with a simple yes, no. Is how many of you as a child said, when I grow up, what I'd like to be is a salesperson? Right? I see this resounding like, nope, 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 nope. Ha. Okay. Well, have some fun with me for a second and share some adjectives that would describe a stereotypical salesperson. Here we go. Sleazy, pushy, spammy, sleazy, pushy, 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 pushy. Ooh, bold, annoying, a liar, gross, gross. Pushy, pushy, annoying, fake from Kylie here. Wowzers, arrogant, can't trust, cannot be trusted. See, if somebody used those words to describe you, somebody saw that in you when they met you for the very first time, how does that make you feel in here? I'm guessing not so good, right? I'm guessing not so good. What if by alternative, I ask you not to describe a stereotypical salesperson? What if by alternative, I ask you to describe a professional salesperson? How do these adjectives now change? Interesting. Trustworthy. I mean, geez, we were a liar a second ago. Now we're honest, clever, poised, educated, competent, trustworthy, helpful, consultative, informed, smart, good listener with integrity. See, if somebody used those words to describe you, how does that make you feel right now? See, that's a little different, isn't it? Awesome. I'm doing better. I'm good with that. Great. Interesting. I want you to catch two tiny, massive lessons in that example. Two tiny, massive lessons. The first is this, is being a salesperson is not a bad thing. The perception of being a salesperson is what is a bad thing. So if you, a customer, a prospect, or anybody that you're working with ever says the words to you that you are a great salesperson, there is a strong possibility that that is not a compliment. It means you've been caught trying to sell something to somebody. And if you thought today I could help you with some ideas to be more pushy, more sleazy, more obnoxious, wrong room. We're not looking for applause for our sales skills. What we're looking for is something very different. What we're looking for is to be able to help people say the words, thank you to you more often. How do you create gratitude from the people you're looking to help? whether that's people joining you in the organization as brand ambassadors, whether that's people benefiting from the products, wherever it might be, we are on the chase for thank yous. But I did say that there were two tiny, massive lessons in there. Two tiny, massive lessons. And I'd go as far to say that the second lesson is a touch more profound. See, in that example, I changed one word. I changed us from stereotypical to professional. And when I changed one word, you, my friends, changed all of the words. I changed one word, you changed all of the words. Therefore, could it be possible in many of your critical conversations where you're showing up in the world that you're looking to influence, when you show up in that world, that other people aren't always seeing what you are saying? Could that be true? That they're seeing something different and you're seeing something different, and that's the giant disconnect. The answer to that question, if you're wondering, is, well, of course, yes, that could be true. So what I'm going to try to help you do today is to help more people see what you're saying, help them be able to understand that. But no, I changed that one word, you changed all the words. Another yes, no question for you is, do people like change? Do people like change? If there are any doubts, let's just test that for a second. I don't care where you are in the world right now. I don't mind who's watching. As long as you're not driving, do this for me and fold your arms. No, not that way. Try it like the other way. Oh, right. It's kind of freaking weird. It's like you're being hugged by a stranger. Like you're being hugged by a stranger. For most of you, you know, you're not going to like that too much. So your best change is uncomfortable. But let's also understand that the point that you're at in your career is that you are going through a period of change. We live in a world that goes through demonstrable amounts of change. You are asking people to change their habits, change their behaviors, to insert new products into their world. You are asking them to change, and change at best is uncomfortable. Change at best is uncomfortable. So our job as leaders in this organization, our job as leaders of ourselves, and our job as leaders of our customer base is to help other people navigate change. It is that easy and that hard. It is that easy and that hard at the exact same time. So how am I going to help you be able to do this? How am I going to help you be able to be more confident in life's critical conversations? So give me a quick kind of yes, no. How many of you have read the book, Exactly What to Say? How many of you have spent some time either listening to it, reading it, consuming it, watching the video book, any of those things? So I've got a good number of you here that have consumed the content in some way, shape, or form. So I thought what I'd help you do is, given that you've spent some time being able to understand some of the words already, why don't I give you a peek behind the curtain and help you understand the operating system, the thinking model behind all of these sequences of words, so that what you can do is you can be more powerful in all of life's critical conversations. Not just like, how do you insert the words? How do you think about showing up to every moment of influence and have more confidence and competence about how you could influence that moment? Would that be useful? Yes or yes? All righty, let's do this. So just answer me here as well. As you folks see my screen just split in part here as well, right? You've seen that just change across, and I'm assuming that I'm like spot lit up so people can see this on their big screen as well. And what do I want people to understand is, to win in any of life's critical conversations, you only need 3 ingredients. Just 3 ingredients, that is it. And these 3 ingredients are, well, somewhere near essential. The 3 ingredients you need to win in any of life's conversations are to start from a position of curiosity, move to empathy, and then behind empathy, we're looking for a healthy dose of courage. These are the 3 critical ingredients in order to be able to win in any of life's critical conversations. Now, I'm sharing these ideas with you here right now, and those 3 words are all words that you've heard before, correct? There's nothing new there. You've heard curiosity, you've heard empathy, you've heard courage. But why those 3 words, and why in particular in that order? Let's start here with this curiosity piece. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation with somebody where that somebody is so sure of themselves, they're in fact so certain of their own point of view, that the more certain they are of themselves, the more uncertain you are in them? Ever been there? I call it kind of that I know mentality. And the more they have that like I know mentality, the more you're like, right, really now, huh? Interesting. See, interestingly, is that certainty leads to uncertainty. It's kind of ironic. Whereas by alternative, if you start from a position of curiosity, you understand something essential. You understand the other person's context. Now, you have brilliant products. You have a brilliant business opportunity. You have a wonderful amount of content you want to insert into people's lives, content you want to insert into people's days. But if you try to insert content before you understand the other person's context, all you did is made a noisy situation more noisy. So content before context is really noise. I've trained more than 2 million sales professionals around the world, more than 2 million. And I often get asked for a definition of what selling is. And in my mind, selling is nothing more than earning the right to make a recommendation. What that means is you should never, ever, 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 ever invite somebody to buy something unless you can say these words first. And the words you should look to say first are the words because of the fact that you said. Because of the fact that you said blank, blank, and blank, then for those reasons, what I'd recommend is blank, blank, and blank. See how easy that then plays out, right? Because of the fact that you said you're overworked, you're tired, you're not getting enough sleep, then for those reasons, what you might benefit from is a product that we call Slim. Hey, because of the fact that you said you love our products and that you'd like to be able to earn some extra money working part-time, then for those reasons, what you might want to consider is becoming a brand ambassador. Because of the fact that you said blank, for those reasons, what we recommend is blank. See, when you remain curious for long enough, what happens is you dance yourself towards this position of empathy. You use the word dance on purpose because you kind of find yourself there organically. People use the word empathy too often without any understanding of what the word really means. Best definition I've ever heard for the word empathy comes from a friend of mine called Jon Acuff. Jon Acuff is a fabulous author, and he describes empathy as to care about what the people you care about care about. Care about what the people you care about care about. I can't do better for a definition of that. So I'm just going to borrow John's. But let's just think about this. How often do you find yourself in conversations with others where what you're looking to be able to do is to push your agenda? I was hoping, I was looking, I was just, I was following up. I, me, we. Right? What it does is it projects yourself all over the other person. They're probably not going to like it. See, when it comes to being empathetic, there's a button that exists inside the head of just about every single decision maker on the planet. And it's a button that I call the show me that you know me button. The second that you trigger the show me that you know me button inside the mind of somebody else, it becomes you and them versus it, not you versus them. There's a big difference. If it's you versus them, you have a winner and a loser, which means if you're the winner, they feel like a loser. Ever found yourself in a conversation there trying to explain the business opportunity to somebody and you're like, dang, I told them, and they still didn't change their mind. You won the argument, but you lost the relationship. It's not about you versus them. It's you and them versus it. And if it isn't you and them versus it, you find yourself in a hell of a lot of trouble. We need to be relatable. What do we need to be able to do to understand this, perhaps a touch further, is do you have anybody in your life that could maybe reach out to you this weekend and say, hey, could you help with blank? And the second they reached out, you're like, yeah, sure, no worries. And then you have other people in your life that could ask you to do the exact same thing, that when they ask you to do the exact same thing, you're like, me? This weekend? Are you kidding? You've got all this pushback and all this friction. The exact same ask gets a demonstrably different response. What is the missing ingredient? The missing ingredient is trust. Everybody says they want to be trusted. They want to be seen as a trusted advisors. I mean, geez, you can trust me, but they forget, how do you get to trust? You get to trust by being curious for long enough to understand somebody's context, dancing towards a position of empathy, so you're truly relatable and you hit the show me that you know me button. That equals trust. That's how you get there. Now, on this courage piece, don't think I'm talking about like climb a mountain courage, go to war courage, right? Jump out of an aeroplane courage, a different type of courage. Finish this sentence for me. If you do not ask, what is the other side of that sentence? If you do not ask, right? We know this to be true. You will not get, you do not get, you will not receive, etc. I'd go as far as saying is that your success is in direct correlation to the quantity of quality asks that you make in your life, period. Your success is in direct correlation to the quantity of quality asks that you make, full stop. See, when you ask, what happens is it drives an action. Action doesn't happen without an ask. So I'm talking about you to have the courage to just ask for things. The irony is, though, is if you start just looking to be able to ask for things, inviting people to try your products, asking people to join your business, asking people to become a brand ambassador, you're pushy, you're sleazy, you're obnoxious, I hate you. If, by alternative, you start from a position of curiosity to truly understand their context, reach a position of empathy, become truly relatable, hit the show me that you know me button, find yourself in a position where you've earned trust, and then invite people to take the next step, you're kind, you're honest, you're helpful, you're consultative, you're on the same side. The vicious irony in all of this is, if you slow the process down, you speed the outcome up. If you slow the process down, you speed the outcome up. Answer me this just to stop me from being super crazy. Is this helpful for you so far? Is this helping you think about how the words in the book can be more applicable? It's helping you understand the operating system that sits behind this. Because what I'm asking you to realize is the person who's in control of the conversation is the one who is asking the questions. What to say is a book of prefaces that helps you make question asking easier. But what type of questions are you looking to be able to ask? Curious questions, empathetic questions, courageous questions. Here is a 5-step process that will never change, regardless of technology, regardless of whether you're using Instagram to build your business, TikTok to build your business, whether you're out networking to build your business. It doesn't matter. Same 5-step process is always in play. And the 5-step process is this, is that questions create conversations. Conversations lead to relationships. From relationships, you can create opportunities. And in opportunities, you can create sales. See, what's interesting is too many people say, Phil, what I want is if I could get more opportunities, I could make more sales. If I could get more opportunities, I could make more sales. If I could get more opportunities, I could make more sales. Yet, what they forget is they need to be asking questions to start conversations, to develop relationships, to create opportunities to make sales. So here's your to-do list right now. Who are the people you need to be asking questions of? What are the conversations you know you need to be having that you're not? Where do you have relationships that hold untapped opportunities? And what needs to happen to those opportunities for you to nudge them towards a sale? Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. This making sense, yes or no? Cool. Well, let me catch your breath, because I'm giving you everything I've got here today to try and make this time that we're spending together worthwhile and something that you can use, something that you can put into practice. But do help me with this for a second, right? Is you know that if you do not ask, you do not get. If you do not ask, you do not get. You know that to be true. We also know that your success is in direct correlation to the quantity of quality asks that you make in your life. We know that. So please tell me, why is it that you do not ask for the things that you want in life? What stops you from asking? Answer me that. What stops you from asking for the things that you want in life? Now, it's interesting, right? I can ask this question to any group of people anywhere in the world. I get the exact same 3 answers. I either get fear, I get rejection, or I get fear of rejection, right? And I want to see what we can do just to play with your mindset on this a touch. Is firstly, this rejection piece is, give me a yes, no in the chat. Have you been rejected by somebody you care about in like the last 7 days? Now, I don't know what it was. It might have been you wanted Chinese food one night and they're like, no, thank you. It might have been next vacation, I'd love to go here. And they're like, you're kidding. It might have been you wanted to have fun in the bedroom and they're like, not tonight, honey. I don't know what it was. You had one idea. They had a different idea. You got rejected. And guess what? More often than not, you were fine with it. More often than not, you were fine with it. No big deal. No loss of momentum. Kept moving forward. No big deal. Why? Because you know when he or she said no to Chinese food, you knew that chicken and broccoli, lo mein, still in your future. Still in your future, right? Just not tonight. It's going to happen someday soon. See, note this, is rejection is part of the game, but when people are saying no, they are highly unlikely saying no to you. they are far more likely to be saying no to it. That is different. They are not saying no to you. They are far more likely saying no to it. In fact, they are far more likely to be saying no to it right now. Now, be honest with yourself for a second. Have you purchased something in the last 3 or 6 months that you wouldn't have dreamed of buying like 3 years ago? Right? Why? Because your circumstances have changed. Your teammates, your brand advocates, your prospects, your clients, their circumstances are changing all the time too. They're changing all the time. Your job is to be front of mind when an opportunity arises, and that might be tomorrow and not today. It might be next month and not this week. It could be in all those different moments. So note that rejection is part of the game. I cannot lose it, but they're not saying no to you. They're probably just saying no to it. In fact, they're probably only saying no to it right now. But what about this fear thing? Is fear real? Yes or no? What do we think? Is fear real? Now, I've seen people try and tell us it's not real. Have you ever seen people try and make an acronym out of the word? You've probably seen this somewhere. Maybe someone's trained it. Maybe they put it up on a flip chart. Maybe you've seen it on TikTok or an Instagram page where somebody is like, all that fear is, and they put an F and an E and an A and an R. And they say all that fear really is it's false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. I've heard that like a gazillion times. And every time I hear it, the best I can get to is like, wow, that's cute. What a cute way of thinking about fear, because that's not how it shows up in my world. That's not how it's shown up in my experience. It's not false evidence appearing real. You know what I see happen in this industry, though, when faced with fear? What I see in this industry when faced with fear is I see F everything and run. That's what I see by alternative. Like, how do we not do this? How do we run in the other direction? How do we wish it was easier? Here's a fact. If you are not scared, you are not growing. Fear is the fertilizer of growth. Fear is the fertilizer of growth. The only way you got to be good at anything that you're good at today is because once upon a time, you didn't think you could do it, and you tried, and you jumped into a position of fear, and you allowed that to be able to help you grow. That's what happened. So if you are not doing things that scare you, you're shrinking. The question to ask of yourself is, do you want your best days to be ahead of you or behind you? If you want them to be behind you and that you've already achieved the best you can achieve in your life, then be comfortable never being scared again in your life. Fine, go for it. But if you'd like your best days to be ahead of you, then learn to live in the fear. Learn to understand that what it is doing is it is putting pressure on you to help you grow. I cannot get rid of fear. I cannot get rid of rejection, but I can help you change the way you think about it and understand what you can do to be able to move those things forward. So where do we take you from here is we have spent really a ton of time in preface to help you understand about how to utilize the words more effectively with more integrity, not just sharing some of the words. But I do want to perhaps let you into some of the secrets about this little book here. And why don't I first share with you what I think is the most important lesson in this book, the most important lesson. In fact, probably the most important thing that I came here to share with you today. And the most important thing that I came here to share with you today is this. It's, hang on. Oh yeah, that's it. When is the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say? Right? It's in the very moment that you are saying it. That is the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say. How many times have you come away from an important conversation and thought, shoulda, woulda, coulda? How many times? How many times have you finished an important conversation and thought, who on earth was that idiot? And the person you were talking about was yourself. See, the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment you're saying it. And that is one of the big reasons why I wrote this little book. And it's a book I'm insanely proud of. I'm proud of it for like a gazillion reasons. But one big one is it is like a genuine bestseller, a genuine best-selling book. And it's sold now what? Over 1.7 million copies, translated into 29 different languages. In fact, this little book right here, it outsold both 50 Shades of Grey and Harry Potter. For real. It did for one whole day. For one whole day. But hey, I take my wins, you take your wins too, right? I take my wins, you take yours. And it's a little book that I tell you is a bestseller because I wanted you to be reminded that people are very good at buying books. I repeat, they're very good at buying books. What are they not so good at doing? Reading and then taking action on what lives inside that book. So I figured if I could write the biggest little book possible, if I could cram it full of gold, I could put it in big font, leave white space, cut out all of the fluff. Then what might happen is people might get through the book. They might learn something from the book. They might put it into practice, use it and take action. And they do. I know they do, because every day a stranger writes to me, tells me to be able to do the same. If you guys ever want to let me know what you folks are up to with the book, then please share your stories, share your information around where you're utilizing it in your world, or feel free to be able to reach out if there's anything more I can do to be able to help with you. However, what is it that's inside this book that makes it more useful to you? It's a book full of what I call my magic words. And what magic words are words that talk straight towards the subconscious brain. Subconscious brain is powerful in the decision-making process because it has a yes output and a no output. There is no maybe in the subconscious. See, if you can talk to the part of somebody's brain that doesn't have a maybe, it only has a yes output and a no output, then you can increase the rate of decision. See, people think that no is the enemy of yes in the world of sales. No isn't the enemy of yes. Maybe is the enemy. Indecision is the enemy. Think about all of the people that are thinking about trying your products, thinking about becoming a brand ambassador, considering being able to swap your product with an existing product. That number of people that are stuck in that position of maybe, if more of those maybes could become yeses, your business would grow significantly. If more of those maybes would confidently give you a no and tell you why, you'd get to be able to buy back time to find some more yeses. So indecision is the enemy, and talking to the part of somebody's brain that is fundamentally more decisive means you can increase the rate of decision, which means you can increase the rate of action, which means you can increase the rate of transaction. That easy and that hard. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Well, we still need to understand a little bit more about subconscious brain. And maybe I can give you some examples of where it served you. Have you ever found yourself on like a familiar car ride where you remember getting into the vehicle in the morning and then you remember arriving at the destination and you have no idea how you got there? That was the subconscious brain that took the drive. Like, don't worry, if anything unusual happened, conscious brain would grab the wheel, you'd be back in control in a nanosecond. But it's like our human autopilot. We rely on it all day, every day. Without it, we'd be like exhausted 15 minutes after we woke up. Still confused about your subconscious brain, please see it as nothing more than a little voice inside your head. And if you're sat there right now thinking that you haven't got a little voice inside your head, then that, my friends, is the little voice telling you you haven't got a little voice. We all have one. Learning to speak to other people's is what gives you a fair advantage in just about every of life's critical conversations. So I thought what I'd do today is I'd try and just share some of the examples from the book to be able to either help deepen your understanding or introduce the words to you for those that haven't read the book for the first time. And I was wondering where to start, thinking where a good place to start might be. And given the fact that we learned earlier today that our success is in direct correlation to the quantity of quality asks that we make in our life, and the reason we do not ask for the things that we want in life is because we're fearful of rejection, I thought one of the best places for us to start with sequences of words would be with some rejection-free opening formulas. Sequences of words you can use to get just about anybody to take a look at just about anything and it be completely rejection-free. Would that be useful, yes or no? I figured as much. See, if I wanted somebody to consider an idea of mine, I wouldn't ask them directly to consider the idea. I'd preface the ask with a simple set of words. And I'd preface the ask with these words. I preface the ask with the words, I'm not sure if it's for you, but. Why? See, if I position an idea to you with the words, I'm not sure if it's for you, then what does the little voice do? Well, the first thing it does is it says, well, I'll be the judge of that. It realizes that there is a decision here for me to make, and that decision is for me to make. takes full personal responsibility for that decision. The other thing the little voice does is curiosity is piqued. Naturally, there's like a little bit of a lean in. It's like, what is it? Tell me some more. Yet there's a 3-letter word on the end of this example, a 3-letter word that holds huge power. And I'm not sure whether it was Uncle Ben or Peter Parker that first said it, but they said with great power comes great responsibility. The exact same thing is true with how we utilize the word but. See, many people only assume that the word but negates what was said prior, that the word but just backspaces what was said in the past. It can do that, but what it really does by alternative more often than not is it shifts the focus to next. It shifts the focus to next. So when you say to somebody, I'm not sure if it's for you, but their little voice says, well, I'll be the judge of that. What is it? Can't stop looking at it. Can't stop looking at it. How do you utilize this in the real world? Hey, I'm not sure if it's for you, but many of our friends have been seeing a huge success with extra energy using a product like. Hey, I'm not sure if it's for you, but I'm going to an event this weekend. I'd love to know if you'd fancy joining me. Hey, I'm not sure if it's for you, but I know that you love our product so much, and I wondered if you knew anybody else that might want to benefit from them too. See what it does? It makes you pulley and not pushy. The goal that you're ending up looking for from these kind of statements is simply things like, tell me some more about that. See, people's goal often is they think I need to use a set of one-liners to get somebody from saying, I'm not interested to where do I sign? It doesn't work like that, my friends. So you know that when you invited somebody to meet you for coffee or drinks, it wasn't the beverage you were interested in. It was the engagement with the individual that you were interested in. We need to create these flirt lines in the same way to invite people to come and have a more meaningful conversation with the thing that we want to talk to them about. When you say, I'm not sure if it's for you, but what you do is you invite them to say, tell me some more about that. And that's the conversation that I'm pretty sure you're pretty darn good at. Would you like another rejection-free opening formula, another simple sequence of words you can use straight away? And we need to check some basic psychology first. Quick yes, no in the chat is who in this room sees themselves as open-minded? Who sees themselves as open-minded? See, if I ask a room of 1,000 people who here sees themselves as open-minded, I get about 900 hands raised to the sky. I'm still pretty sure the other 100 hands wouldn't raise regardless of what I offered. It could be cash, cookies, cake. That hand is still not going to the sky. I mean, some people are just the ones that never raise their hands when asked to raise their hands. So what do I take from that? I get a fact. The fact is that almost everybody likes to see themselves as open-minded. They like to see themselves as open-minded. It doesn't mean that they are open-minded. They like to see themselves as open-minded. That is a fact. When we take that fact and we link it to a principle that we learned earlier on today, and that principle was that it's the person that's asking the questions that's in control of the conversation, and we take the fact and we now build a question around it, we just created a rejection-free opening formula. And the rejection-free opening formula is this. It's the sequence of words, how open-minded would you be? How open-minded would you be to perhaps introducing these products to some of the people that you know and love? I mean, how open-minded would you be to joining me at an event this weekend? Hey, how open-minded would you be to trying something different in place of coffee to give you energy? I mean, how open-minded would you be to swapping from that monster drink to something that perhaps is a little better for you? I mean, how open-minded would you be to utilizing the words, how open-minded are you more often? Can we see how powerful this stuff is? How useful it can be? How much it can help you move the needle? So what I wanted to do here right now is, having given you just a couple of simple sequences of words, is to just catch a beat for a second, catch a breath, and just say, hey, what have you taken from our time together so far? What are you going to do differently in your world at this given point in time? And I'm also going to just peer into the Q&A for a second to see what I can do to be able to perhaps provide some precise insights to where you are at with your business. I like Jenny seeing that there's genius in this. It's taken a long time to get to be able to do this. Stacey's like, I'm going to buy the book. Mindy's going to ask more questions. Heather's going to use these word sequences more. Jessica is going to say, I love the reminder to start with curiosity and stop trying to be the expert. Experts ask questions. Experts don't give answers. I'm looking in the Q&A here as well. What's Sarah got for me? Sarah says, And what she's doing is she's asking me a question really about how to deal with the I need some time to think about it. So we will deal with that, Sarah, and make sure we get to that. And how do you ask for the sale again after you answer their concern? Okay, yeah, we can certainly get towards that one in a little while, Sarah. I'll make sure that we have that. What else am I seeing? Shannon's going to let go of fear. Thecia is going to use my words better and use your examples. Sally's going to say this book is on my Christmas list after listening to the audio. And Sally, you're right? The audio is good for repetition. The book is good for scribbling notes and being able to reach to quickly to help you get ready ahead of important conversations. Barbara's going to face her fear. Rachel's going to take notes on the book, practice it, bring it to everyday life. You don't have to use this just at Plexus. You can use it on the kids. You can use it on your spouse. You can use it when ordering food. You can use it everywhere. Sally's saying I already have used some of the words. Amber's saying putting these words everywhere. Susanna is going to build more trust and empathy. Nancy's going to get better at asking. Leanne says love, love, love this perspective. Words are powerful. This is good stuff, folks. This is good stuff. With this being said, would any of you like to know the secret to influence? Like, how do you get just about anybody to do just about anything? You up for that? Now, pinky promise, you're going to use this for ethical reasons. You're going to use this to grow your Plexus business. You're not going to use this to be able to get your family members to do things you've only dreamed of. Pinky promise. Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Amber. Okay. So the secret to influence lies in one single massively overused word. And it's this one. The word motivation. The reason that I say it's overused is because too few people actually understand what the word means. And when you understand what the word means, you unlock the secret to influence. When you study the word's etymology, you realize that the word has been created from the forcing together of two words. The first word comes from the Latin word motivus. Modern day translation is the word motive. The Asian part comes from the word that we know as action. These are the two words that are forced together to be able to create the word motivation. But let's take this one level further. What is another word for a motive? If somebody had a motive, it means they had a what? What's another word for a motive? If they had a motive, they had a, here we go, all of these would work, is they have a reason or agenda. And if they're going to take action, it means they're going to move, or it means they're going to do something. So all that is meant by the word motivation is quite simply a reason to move. A reason to move. Would it be fair to say that if the reason was big enough, you could get just about anybody to do just about anything? If the reason was big enough? This is the answer to that question. Yeah, sure it could, if the reason was big enough. But whose reason matters more, yours or theirs? Yours or theirs? Well, like I know this one. See, that is the secret to influence, to find their reason to move. It is that easy and it is that hard. There are only 3 reasons anybody moves to do anything. Did you know that? Only 3 reasons? Or am I going to have to teach that too? Yikes. Yikes. Okay, I'm going to have to teach that too. 3 reasons anybody moves to do anything. 1 is to be able to run towards something that's going to make them more comfortable. Running towards something to make them more comfortable. That is reason 1. Reason 2, run away from something that's making them uncomfortable, something that's going to scare them. Now, if it isn't that, the third and the only other form of motivation is self or attitude motivation, doing things for you, you and only you that make your heart sing. So you've got the things you want to run towards, the things you want to run away from, and the things that light you up inside and make your heart sing. That is it. They're the only 3 reasons anybody will do anything. What's interesting, though, is the things that you want to run towards that will make you more comfortable, that drives motivation with some of the people some of the time. The things you want to run away from that make you uncomfortable, that will strangely work with more of the people more of the time. Yet even more interestingly is the things that people will move towards or away from for selfish reasons that make them light up inside, that make their heart sing, that will work with all of the people all of the time. So all forms of motivation work. What we need to do, though, is in any given moment of influence is to build a cocktail out of all of those ingredients that creates the movement in the other person. which requires emotional intelligence, which is why this is a people business, which is why this is hard. See, if this wasn't hard, it wouldn't need people with emotional intelligence to influence people. All that would happen is Plexus HQ would distribute their products through web pages where people would click and say buy, click and say buy, click and say buy, and the robots would take over. But guess what? It doesn't work that way. And this is good news. This is why you can have a career in this business, is because it requires emotional intelligence, because it requires people to be able to understand other people, and because it requires people's ability to be able to read the moment. But there's still the only three things that would work. So I know that you're getting this, right? That you're understanding it hypothetically. As the secret to influence is to find somebody's reason to move. Understanding the word motivation means that we know there are only three reasons anybody will move to do anything: the thing that people want to run towards, the thing that people want to run away from, or the thing that would light people up inside. That all makes sense. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, yeah, but how? I get it in theory, yeah, but how in practice? So I'm going to share with you in a second about how you can make this work in practice. And the answer is with word choices, but I do need you to understand a touch more brain science first. And this is going to feel heavy, but it's not. The first thing to understand is about how decisions are made. Did you know that every decision that every human being has ever made has been made at least twice? Every decision that every human being has made in their life has been made at least twice. See, we first make decisions up here in our mind's eye, hypothetically speaking. Ever said the words to yourself that I cannot see myself doing that? It's a literal thing. If you cannot see yourself doing something, the likelihood of you choosing to do it remains slim to none. Therefore, if I can get somebody to see themselves doing something before I invite them to do it, the chances of them doing it is significantly higher. That's one of the first things we need to understand about how decisions are made. A second thing to understand about how decisions are made is what we use as a point of reference. When it comes to being able to make a decision, our primary point of reference is our memory. What our memory is like the world's biggest Instagram account. There are a gazillion photographs up here. And when being invited to make a decision, we nano process all of these images, looking for images that can inform the decision we're about to make in that moment. But the slightly awkward question to ask of yourself right now is, how many of your memories actually happened to you? Ooh, that one's a touch awkward, right? Because the answer is not all of them. Not all of them. Your memories became memories for one of two reasons. It was either A, an experience that you lived through, or B, an experience that was shared with you, typically in the form of a story. See, a story will always sell, whereas a fact will only tell. Why? Because when stories are being asked of you, guess what? We paint our own pictures. We stick them up here. These become our memories. And our memories inform our decisions. Memories can be inserted into other people's minds. So we now need to be able to wrap all this stuff together and see how we can utilize it. There is one more piece of information I need you to understand, is that the secret to influence is to be able to understand motivation, which is to find their reason to move. There are only three reasons that anybody moves to do anything: the thing they want to run towards, the thing they want to run away from, the thing that makes their heart sing. What else needs to happen onwards from here is, hey, one second. Let me just wrap this 1 sec. Hey, I'm still here. I just thought I'd tease you guys for a second while I had to deal with a little technical issue here. But we're back. And cliffhanger, right? Right, Caitlin? Cliffhanger. So what are we saying? We're saying the secret to influence is to be able to understand motivation. Motivation means reason to move. There are only three reasons that anybody moves to do anything: the thing they want to run towards, the thing they want to run away from, or the thing that makes their heart sing. When it comes to being able to get people to be able to make decisions, firstly, we make decisions in our mind's eye, hypothetically speaking. Have to see ourselves doing something before we choose to do it. From there, what we need to understand is when it comes to making decisions, we reference our memories. Our memories came there from either experiences we lived through or experiences that were shared with us, typically in the form of a story. There's one other piece of information to understand is that we learn quickest as children. As children, the primary method of us receiving information was either through experiences we lived through or stories that were shared with us. How did a child know a story was coming? What were the magic words? Hit me with that. What were the magic words? There you go. They were the words once upon a time. You cannot use the words once upon a time with a prospect when looking to be able to introduce a new brand ambassador or with an existing customer or client. You cannot. You can, though, use the grown-up version. And the grown-up version of the exact same sequence of words are the words just imagine. See, what do we now do? The words just imagine open up the mind's eye in the exact same way as the words once upon a time. And we can now paint very specific pictures. What kind of pictures can we paint in their mind? Well, we're going to paint one of three different types of pictures. We're either going to paint a picture of something they want to run towards, a picture of something we know they want to run away from, or a picture of something that would make them light up inside. I just imagine how much better you'll feel if what you can do is you can swap all the sugar in that drink for something that is a lot better for you. Hey, just imagine what happens if we don't do this and that you continually remain stuck in your existing job, not making enough money and not being able to provide the future that you'd like for your family. Just imagine that was true. Hey, just imagine by us working together on this, that you can overcome some of the challenges, put yourself in control of your own life, of your own future, and you can then start to be able to live your days more the way you would like to, providing that financial future and success for your family that you've always dreamed of. Just imagine that was true. Here's what's interesting, is when is the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say? It's in the moment when you're saying it, right? That is the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say. And here I am making up examples for you on the spot. Could you think about the people that you're looking to influence and get ready ahead of time? Taking a few moments where what you could think about is what might this person want to run towards? What might this person want to run away from? What might make this person's heart sing? The answer to this question is, of course you could. Yes, you could do that. What else do I want you to understand here is, answer me this, is have you ever had anybody say to you the words, I just need some time to think about it? You've been there? Have you ever finished a presentation with somebody and said the words, do you have any questions? Okay, I have some news for you. Firstly is the fact that people are saying to you, I need some time to think about it. That's probably all your fault. You made that happen. That was you. Here's my advice for you on finishing a presentation with a question. Do you have any questions? My advice to you is clean and simple. My advice is this: stop it. Please stop it. Here's why. When you say to somebody, do you have any questions? What are you suggesting they should have? Now, if you've done your job right, presented the information fully and properly, what should they not have? But you made them think that they should have. Yet you did do a good enough job to mean that they don't have, which means their little voice is saying, well, what did I miss? And because they're thinking they missed something, they end up saying things like, can you send me an email? Is there a brochure? I need some time to think about it. I want to speak to my spouse. And you made all that happen because you said, do you have any questions? Which meant that you suggested to them that normally people have questions at this stage and that normally people haven't made their mind up. That's what you suggested with that question. When you make a simple swap in word choices, and what you do is, by alternative, you say, what questions do you have for me? Now, what do those same people say? They say no questions. Now, if they say no questions, that means that they have all the information they need to make a decision. That means that they've already made a decision, which means that you do not need to ask them for a decision. You simply need to help them understand what the next step is. Would any of you like the precise words to be able to help somebody move towards the next step? Be ready to write these down. The words are, So the next step is. See how easy that is? You say, what questions do you have for me? They say no questions. You say, great, so the next step is. And lead them towards that. Not, let's get started. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. Not this giant big thing that says that here we are with this crescendo moment that pours all this pressure on every other person. We say, so the next step is. It is that simple and that hard. It's elegant, it's professional, it's precise, and it's kind. It's all those things together. So knowing that we don't have much time left, I'm hoping, Sarah, that gives you some insights to your question without us needing to deal with the difficult objection if I need some time to think about it and hit people hard with the just out of curiosity, what is it specifically you need some time to think about type response. But what I would love to be able to share with you also is just one more example of words that I think would be useful for you. Have you ever found yourself needing to tell somebody what to do without them feeling like they're being told what to do? Because you know that they want to know what to do, but they don't want to feel pushed or pressured. They just want to feel led. Because people do want to know what to do without feeling like they're being told what to do. I mean, geez, this is one crazy riddle. So if you want to understand about how to deal with those scenarios, we'll borrow some other basic psychology, that human beings are a lot like sheep. That's why we are happy to follow a crowd. That's why we're far more likely to be able to follow any recommendation from 37 strangers on Yelp than we will any recommendation from our mother-in-law. Facts. Happy to follow a crowd. So we take this fact that we're happy to follow a crowd. We take this fact that we are often looking to be able to tell people what to do without them feeling like they're being told what to do, because we know they want to know what to do. And next time that you want to tell somebody what to do without them feeling like they're being told what to do, all you simply do is you let them know what most people would do. And when you share with people, here's what most people would do in your circumstances. Little voice goes off in most people's head and says, aha, I'm most people. So there's a good chance that's what I should do too. Allows you to be pretty darn precise. But I'm looking here as to how many we have here. We have 440 people here live right now. So I'm pretty darn certain that somewhere like 22 of you, which is also inclusive of our friend Pat here that says, no, I don't want to follow a crowd, is that there are a number of you that will be like, dang, there is no way that that would ever work on me because I don't want to follow a crowd, because I don't want to follow the pack. So you know what I say to you? I say, please, please, pretty please, don't be like most people. You're welcome. See, I can use the words most people to split any crowd 95-5. Any crowd 95-5. I just need to have the emotional intelligence to understand, am I speaking to the 5 or the 95? And the words most people can split it and help people find confidence. So understand those differences are true here too. So I'd love to know, in the short time that we have left here together, before I jump back across and speak to the Plexus team, is what questions specifically you have for me. And I'm looking here in the chat and in the Q&A already, and I'm seeing some of the things are here. And Christina is saying, what about going back to revive an account using past tense? The I'm not sure, but is if you're going back to revive an account, and I'd probably approach it slightly differently. I'd probably approach it with a framework that I call OFQ, which is polite opening, mutually agreeable fact, easy to answer question. So I maybe use a text message or a Facebook DM, or I drop them a quick call. And if it's a text message, it would be, hi, I don't know if you've saved my number, but this is Christina. The fact is I know that this time last year that you were really getting benefit out of our product and purchased this, 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 and this. Easy to answer question is, do you still have enough stock? Question mark. Right? Opening fact question. Polite opening, mutually agreeable fact, easy to answer question. Michelle Ortega says, do you have a workbook for the book? The answer to that is yes. You can work a workbook alongside one of our certification programs with a certified guide. But also, if you're super sneaky, we have a hardcover version of the book that's a workbook too. It's just difficult to find. Go to Amazon, toggle to hardcover, and you'll find the luxury edition of the book that I created to commemorate 1 million copies. It's expanded, it's a workbook, it has challenges, but I did a limited run of 10,000 of them. So we just hide it there and we don't heavily promote it because I typically use it for gifts. but you can find that hardcover workbook version on Amazon if you toggle to hardcover. Misty says, I've struggled with this last step. So what do you say to help people move to the step of buying something? You say, great. So the next step is. And Yvonne Mayer says, what are the positive words to ask why somebody stopped using the product? Yvonne, it's the power in using the right preface. You want to say to somebody, tell me why you stopped using our products. But when you say tell me, it sounds aggressive. If you swap the words tell me for the preface of the words help me understand, you can have a softer, more meaningful conversation. So help me understand what's changed in your life that means that you're no longer seeing the benefit in Slim. Hey, help me understand, has anything happened at your end that means that we're no longer doing business together? Hey, help me understand, is there something that we need to do differently to help you start seeing the benefits in our products again? Because when you use the words help me understand as opposed to tell me, you become pulley again and not pushy. So I'm hoping that has dealt with the questions there. Then one more, how do I give advice to potential customers or ambassadors that say it's not affordable? I mean, that's a big question, Sarah. We could spend a day on that, but I will give you a very quick answer. When somebody says it's not affordable, you have to remember the person who's in control of the conversation is the one who's asking the questions. So why don't they give you a single question? It's a one-word question, that could change the game. When somebody says, wow, that just doesn't sound too affordable to me, you say, really? And you see how that curiosity-fueled one-word really question helps them justify it more so. You might then have to say, so you don't like buying premium things? They say, no, I do like buying premium things. I say, do you know other people that like buying premium things? Yeah, I know lots of people that buy premium things. So do you want to be part of an organization that is distributing premium products, or would you like to be partnered with somebody who sells cheap and cheerful? You see how much you can play with this stuff when you know it deeply. And I guess in conclusion, before passing back, is remember the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment that you're saying it. Also note that it's the person who's asking the questions that's in control of the conversation. The 3 steps to being able to achieve success in any conversation is start curious, reach a position of empathy, and then have the courage to make big, bold asks. And note finally that if you do change your words, you can in fact change your world. So I've had fun sharing this hour or so with you so much. I want to hand back across and see what we're going to do next, Michelle.
Yes, thank you so much, Phil. I do have one more question though on Facebook. How do we come back from saying the wrong thing at the beginning? From Cassie on Facebook.
How do we come back from saying the wrong thing? It's hard without knowing exactly what the wrong thing is that's being said, right? We'd still probably want to start from a position of curiosity. And what you might want to use is that OFQ framework that I mentioned earlier, where you might take the opening where you're going to reach out to somebody and you're going to own your mistake. So your opening is going to be something along the lines of, hey, it's Phil calling. I'd suggest people use their own name. In the phone call, the fact I'd use is last time we spoke, I don't think it went well. Last time we spoke is I said a few things that I felt like I shouldn't have done. Last time we spoke, I think that we got off on the wrong foot. Last time we chatted is I was new to the business and I feel like that I made a giant mistake. So we're going to create some form of fact that is like, dunk, owned it. Then I'm going to put an easy to answer question. And the easy to answer question in this scenario is, would you agree? Other person is going to say, yeah, I do agree. You're going to say, well, how would you feel if we just started over? How would you feel if we just started again? How would you feel if we approach this differently with a new page? And they're going to say, yeah, that'd be great. And then give yourself permission to play again.
Excellent. Thank you, Phil. Well, we are not going to get rid of Phil just yet. In addition to Phil's excellent book, Exactly What to Say, he actually has a children's book. So if your kids are around, bring them to sit with you on the couch right now, because we have a special presentation. Phil is actually going to read aloud his children's book. So please take it away, Phil.
Well, yeah. And this is a little fun passion project of mine. During the pandemic is one of the things that I leaned into and realized was that it isn't just grown-ups that need to get more conscious about their language. Is sometimes children need to get more focused on it too. And the people that work with children sometimes need to find tools to be more effective about how they can raise consciousness towards the power of words in our little leaders of the future. So yeah, I put to work this book. I'm super proud of it. And I say I wrote it. I still think the real superstar of the book is the illustrator. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And I want you to think about this as I read it for your kids, but also for yourselves too, is to just help raise some intentionality around it. And I've never done this towards a corporate audience before. I've been at schools with kids and done it. So this is the first time that I'm going to read a book to 402 grown-ups. And let's see if this would be helpful for you. But Michelle, you see this jump up on my screen here right now?
Yes, I do.
All righty, well, why don't I read it from here as well? I think people will be able to follow it easier. Words paint 1,000 pictures through stories, tales, and more, creating imaginary worlds to jump into and explore. Worlds where kings and queens are mighty, with their castles, crowns, and throne, where girls and boys are mighty too, with magic words all of their own. Beginnings, middles, endings, words formed and put together, created from the alphabet, letter after letter. So tiny yet such might, strong enough to open gates, for a simple please and thank you is sometimes all it takes. Our pleases and our thank yous, they're the magic's words, that's true. But did you know that other words have magic powers too? The words we choose to use, the words we think and say, these words affect our feelings in a very special way. Words can make us feel amazing, make us feel all proud and strong. When filled with hearts and kindness, words make us feel like we belong. Words can make us brave, turning a no into a yes, where I can't becomes I can, where we take action nonetheless. Changing moods from red to green, from frowns and tears to smiles, from giving up to pushing through, turning small steps into miles. But words can also make us feel angry, lonely, mad, make us lose our confidence, make us feel upset or even sad. So before words leave our lips, we must make sure they won't hurt. For words can't be unspoken, they cannot be unheard. Words always find their way into our heads and our hearts. They write countless little stories with new endings and new starts. For words are rather sticky. Once spoken, they get stuck. They stick like sticky lollipops, like boots get stuck in muck. You have a word, you speak a word, you keep it or you break it. You fight with words, make up with words, you live by it and give it. And once it has been given, you must not break your word, for a promise is a promise, or it will lose its worth. Words can build us up and tear us down, help us connect and share ideas, make us feel lonely and unheard, or fill a room with cheers. Whether spoken, read, or heard, through song or book or lens, words can be so powerful, break bonds or make new friends. So know the power of your words, be careful what you say. Be careful how you say the things you share and speak each day. With your daily choice of words, you get to change the world. And that's the magic power held by every boy and every girl. Thanks for letting me do that.
Excellent. Thank you, Phil. You really taught us exactly what to say today, when to say it, exactly how to make our conversations count. It was a pleasure having you join us today. Everyone back home, please give some love to Phil in the chat. Phil, it was a fabulous Saturday, and I cannot wait to see everyone implement these new strategies into their business right after this call.
Love it, love it. Well, thank you all for having me. It has been a pleasure and a privilege to play with you all today, and I'm excited to see what everybody goes to do with it all next.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Phil, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.